and welcome back. Well, we've arrived here at the end. This is the final episode of what Jared's watching. We've been through a lot. We've watched a lot of movies, we've eaten a lot of food, and I've chewed with my mouth open on television. This is what I looked like 2 months ago. Back when I was still trying, because being moderately attractive may have mattered. Like, say, the cashier at Trader Joe's is kind of cute, so maybe I try to flirt with her a little bit. But, in this world gone mad, such things no longer matter. And so, here we are. As we head off into the summer here, I will continue to watch movies, and I'm gonna leave you with plenty on your plate to get you through the summer. So to kick off, I gotta tell you that my favorite filmmaker is Christopher Nolan. He's never made a bad movie, and I discovered him when I was in college, and as I studied the art of filmmaking and began to really learn and begin to make my own films, I was watching his films and how he evolved as a director, and so I think that some of that attachment that I have formed was because of just sort of when he came into my life, when his films came into my life, and sort of the him progressing as a filmmaker, as I was learning to be a filmmaker. Also, his movies are just completely awesome, and just seem to always tap right into things that I find intriguing or things that I believe in, and just I also realized how often I say, if you didn't notice it already, it'll probably drive you nuts for the rest of this episode, so I apologize for that. Anyway, Christopher Nolan's new film, Tenet, is coming, it's scheduled to come out this summer. If movie theaters do not reopen in time, it may get delayed, which will be very sad for me, because Tenet is scheduled to come out scheduled to come out on July 17th. And my birthday is July 18th. So for quite some time now, I've had my birthday plans set in stone. I was gonna go see Tenet on my birthday. I'm really, really excited for this movie. It is, I am intensely excited. I don't think I've been this pumped for a movie probably since 2010, when another Christopher Nolan movie came out and I got to go see it on my birthday. We'll get to that later. So, in preparation for Tenet, I will be doing a Christopher Nolan retrospective. I am going to rewatch his entire catalog of films, and I'm going to take you through it here today. Look, it's the last episode, so it's not lost on me that most of you are going to check out early. The only ones that are going to watch this one all the way through are my mom and a few diehard fans. And that's who this one's for. The true fans. All right. So, to kick it off, I will be watching Following. Following is Christopher Nolan's very first film. It's really a very tiny film. I think the budget was something like $6,000, which is a little misleading because he made the movie using equipment that belonged to a university where he was working at the time. I believe that's what it was. So it would have cost more, but he was getting some of the equipment for free. But you know, just a crafty guy found a way to make it happen. Only 4 characters in this movie, and it's pretty short. I mean, it's 70 minutes long, and really, you know, it's just you can see his themes and some of his stylistic choices that are going to be prevalent throughout his entire career there in this film. But we really love it. I mean, it is an interesting movie. So it's about a guy who follows people. Like it's sort of just like a weird obsession. Like he'll just follow people and sort of see what he learns about them just from following them. And then he follows a thief one day, and then that thief sort of leads him into this kind of world of crime, we'll say. Following comes out in 1999. It's black and white, and you know, it actually was released theatrically, a very small theatrical release. But the real thing that happened here was that it just kind of put Christopher Nolan on the radar of a lot of people in Hollywood, which led to him being able to lay the groundwork for his next film. This is the one that introduced me to Christopher Nolan. Memento. Memento is a 2000 film. Memento tells the story of a man who is trying to find the man who killed his wife. The real trick of it is that so years before, there was a home invasion. During the invasion, his wife is murdered and he was knocked unconscious, and he is given this condition which prevents him from making new memories. So essentially, he remembers his whole life up to the accident, and then from there forward, he can't make new memories. He will. It's even a line in movies. If he talks to someone for too long, he'll forget how or why they started talking. So he's developed all these tricks and kind of habits to help him. He has tattoos, and he only trusts his own handwriting, and he goes by Polaroids and things, and you know, and he's trying to, despite, you know, not being able to create new memories, he's trying to follow his own clues and things to track down the man who killed his wife and created this condition in him. The movie is also really interesting in that it plays in reverse. So the movie actually starts at the end of the story, and it plays out in these kind of like 7 to 8 minute chunks where, you know, we watch the end of the story, and then it goes backward and we see what came before what we just watched. I know that probably sounds really weird. If you watch the movie, it does take a little getting used to, but there is a structure to it. It does make sense. And it is really kind of a fascinating way for this story to unfold. And it's interesting because in a way, it puts the audience into some kind of equal footing with the character that we're watching, and that we don't know what came before this, and neither does he, because he doesn't have the memory of it. So really a cool movie. Came across it in college. It actually came out when I was in high school, but I didn't see it until I was in college. It was definitely at a time when I was just like becoming really fascinated with new ways of telling a story. And, you know, at that point I had seen a lot of movies, so was really starting to get taken with movies that could surprise me still, because we get so accustomed to film language and things that it's becomes more and more difficult for a movie to surprise us. And this one is you know, I liked it then. I wasn't immediately in love with Christopher Nolan films, but this is what put him on my radar, made me start paying attention and seeing, you know, seeing his work. And you know, that's the interesting thing too, is it took a while before I really became a diehard Christopher Nolan fan. I think, again, I was going through this whole maturity process, and it was watching his films evolve that, you know, it slowly became a lasting influence on me. The next film is Insomnia. So Insomnia stars Al Pacino, Robin Williams, and Hilary Swank. And it's the story of Al Pacino is a big city detective who has gotten into a little bit of trouble, has been accused of falsifying evidence at a crime scene to try and put someone away. And so, kind of as a way to sort of get him out of the media's eye, he's sent to this small town in Alaska to assist them with a murder investigation. The sort of weird twist on it is that this town it's one of those towns in Alaska where you basically get like 6 months of day and 6 months of night. And so it's daytime, but it's always daytime. And so he's having difficulty sleeping because it's light out all the time. And of course, you know, there's psychological elements and things. And as the movie progresses, the more sleep that he's lost, the more difficult it becomes for him to sort of perceive what's actually going on. And he's sort of playing, it's you know, it's one of those movies, it's a dueling movie where our villain is Robin Williams. Not really a spoiler, we find out very early on in the movie that Robin Williams is the murderer. The question is whether or not Al Pacino will be able to capture him, and it's sort of that, you know, these two guys trying to outsmart one another. And you know, I like this one. I saw it in the movie theater, and I liked it, and you know, there was a style to it and everything. It's definitely, probably for my money, his weakest movie, in part because this is the only movie he's directed that he did not also write. This is a movie, well, he may have written the adaptation, I gotta check on that. But basically this one came along, and Christopher Nolan had, you know, he had done 2 films. Memento was a success. This was his kind of, his first big studio movie, and it's kind of was one where he had to prove that he could handle working with a bigger budget and working with bigger stars and everything, and sort of see if that would, you know, lead to the next big thing. And of course, if you know what's coming next, you know that it worked.